While the Greeks are credited with inventing democracy, it is a historical irony that the three greatest philosophers, Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, were actually its fiercest critics. They did not shape the modern world by praising mob rule, but by demanding that government be based on reason, law, and virtue. However, the concepts of universal human rights and human dignity actually came later, from a different school of philosophy called Stoicism. Here is how these thinkers shaped the modern world. The Big Three defined the Western intellectual tradition. Their work laid the foundation for how we think, how we live, and how we govern. Socrates never wrote a word. He simply walked around Athens asking uncomfortable questions, the Socratic method. He taught that authority should always be questioned and that the unexamined life is not worth living. He was the ultimate gadfly. He was executed by a democratic vote of Athenians, which became history's most famous warning about the dangers of mob rule, tyranny of the majority. His death inspired the idea that a democracy needs constitutional protections to stop the majority from killing the minority. Plato was a student of Socrates, horrified by his teacher's execution. In his masterpiece, The Republic, he argued that the average person was too emotional and uneducated to vote on complex matters. Plato argued for a philosopher king, rule by the wisest, not the most popular. While we rejected his authoritarianism, his ideas shaped the modern republic, distinct from a direct democracy. We use his logic today. We don't vote on every law ourselves. We elect experts, representatives, to study the issues and vote for us. Aristotle was Plato's student, more practical. He studied 158 different constitutions and concluded that the best form of government was a polity, a mix of democracy and aristocracy. He famously argued that the most stable state is ruled by a strong middle class, which acts as a buffer between the rich and the poor. He also championed the concept that law should govern, not men, a core principle of every modern constitution. If the Big Three built the machinery of government, the Stoics provided its soul. The idea that every human being has rights just by being born did not come from democratic Athens, which relied on slaves. It came from the Stoics, like Zeno, Seneca, and Epictetus. Before Stoicism, your rights depended on where you were from. I have rights because I am an Athenian. The Stoics argued that we are all citizens of the cosmopolis, the universe. They believed in a natural law that existed above human laws. This meant that even if a king passes a law making slavery legal, it is morally void because it violates nature. Stoicism was the first major Western philosophy to teach that slaves, women, and barbarians were equal to free men in their capacity for reason. This direct line of thinking influenced the Roman lawyer Cicero and later Thomas Jefferson and the French revolutionaries. When the Declaration of Independence states, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal," that is a purely Stoic concept.